many things, and I only need one thing. I just need this. And then we're gonna separate. Nope.
See, on here, I keep trying to teach you and change your name. Oh,
I just want to change your middle name. That's
why
all.
are you trying to change my cat's name? He's right over here.
It's middle name is all.
Oh, right over here.
It's just his middle name that I want.
It's
That's it.
fun.
Ludacris is Ludacris.
Ludacris is Ludacris. And I love it because he's the silliest boy.
Because he's the silliest boy is the cutest thing ever.
He is. He's also the smartest. He learned how to use a litter box first.
You did, because your auntie's
He
baby.
is. He's a smart boy. And he was the runt of the litter.
Your
Yeah.
auntie's baby. All right, you ready?
Yeah. I'm always ready.
All right.
Ready? You don't gotta get ready.
Drum roll.
Welcome to Selfish and Steady! That she's diabolical.
I'm dead. All right.
I can
All
sound
right.
like a witch cackling.
You don't sound, I don't think you sound like a witch cackling at all, unless you want to sound like a witch cackling.
Oh, I can definitely sound like a witch cackling when I'm ready.
Oh, okay. All right. On that note, what is in your cup today, Maddie?
Today it is Donut Cafe Caramel Macchiato
Have we used up all of the other
because
coffee?
I found my favorite box in the store. Moon, it's the Moon Coffee brand, and I was like, yeah, so happy.
Well, that sounds good. Today I am drinking my company's blend. This one is called Better Than Coffee. It's a play off of like Better Than Sex. It's a tea that's like a black tea, and I can never say this. Rooibos? Rubius? Meh. It's a like very good, very robust herbal tea. It has notes of vanilla in it. So it all can mimic a little bit of that kind of coffee feel that you would get, but in a tea. And it has lots of health benefits and everything like that. And agave, of course.
I do love agave.
I do. And we're in that little Hello Kitty cup today.
I am in my Boss Lady cup today. I actually just washed all my coffee mugs because we had a little coffee party last night.
Ooh. Who is we?
Two of my players came over. They're gonna house sit for me while I'm traveling. And we had an event where it was a Pete and Sip sponsored by my second favorite dungeon master, Jack Reed. Second favorite because I am my first favorite.
Of course. All right. Well, other
Gotta
than
be.
that, how was your week?
We painted some minis. Week was week. It is what it is. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna keep pushing.
That is
How
ominous.
was your week?
My week was okay. I think I have like a brand collaboration with Hollister. So I'm working on that video today. So this outfit is sponsored by Hollister,
Very nice.
and I'm wearing.
Can I see the whole outfit or I gotta wait?
Okay, hold on. Hold on. We're gonna have to. There's gonna have to be a whole turn.
Okay, I like. Butt sitting nice in them jeans, and a nice classic tee. So is this brand sponsorship with which brand?
Hollister,
No, I meant which brand that you promote. Not Hollister, which facet.
Blake Gabrielle.
Fantastic.
So I got it on my Blake Gabrielle page. It came in. Thank you. It came in through something like TikTok one, and it said it was a brand collaboration. I had to buy this, but I record a video. I'm just gonna do my normal day in the life of an indie author videos, and then I send it to them after I edit it. and then TikTok reviews it, and then the brand reviews it, and they'll send back feedback. So, cross his fingers. It's for $3,400. So, I hope I get
Um,
picked. I'm trying to remind
uh,
myself that, like, I got sent this because of my content that I make, and so I don't need to, like, change myself a lot or do anything different. Just keep doing the content that I'm doing, but just try to
yeah.
feature the outfit a little bit more. That's been going on. I tomorrow have to talk to somebody about filing for bankruptcy. That part sucks, but I did go back to work this last week, and it was nice to see my coworkers again. It was nice to be in that space again. I'm feeling really, really tired this week, and I think it's just because I'm only, tomorrow will mark 3 weeks with me starting on the medication, and I know that I feel better, but that doesn't mean that my body has fully adjusted to it. And I have been having a lot of trouble sleeping and, maybe not getting the best well rested sleep. So those things have been going on. Other than that, the 14-year-old, she turned 14, or the 13-year-old turned 14 yesterday. Milestone.
Yeah, because that fuck not even else like
I gave her her last 13-year-old hug, and then I gave her her first 14-year-old hug.
great.
So that was nice.
I love that.
Other than that, it's just been chilling, working, getting back into doing my other podcasts. I just finished the mini short story series, Grieving. That one just dropped today. And then, which will be Monday, because this comes out on Friday. And just trying to get back into the groove. I have my book coming out in December. So I have a lot of editing that I need to do for that. That's didn't happen a lot this month because of everything else.
Mhm. Is editing can at least for me, edit is a big part of when I'm writing stuff, and it's the part that I find the most demoralizing because I obsess over, like, the word change and, like, how the dialogue is flowing. Like, when I did sing that short story this week, it was just a nice creative activity, like, 3 pages in my journal turned into 2 pages typed, but I added more to it as I was typing it up, and I felt really proud of that little short story.
I read it when I posted it yesterday, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Um oh, and the whole thing. So was moving so fast trying to make sure that I got it done for you before I went to the birthday, and I forgot that when I posted for you, I have to switch our names. Which thank you for catching it because I didn't even see it. And then when you said it to me, I was like, "Oh, I'm in the middle of the party." I'm like, "Oh, hold on, everybody." Grab like my phone out and rush and do it real quick. But no, I really loved your story, and I agree. Editing is demoralizing. But luckily, I did the demoralizing part while I was grieving. That all got out all at once. But so now it's the hard part is the because editing is it especially in long form. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of being honest with yourself and saying, "Okay, does this actually really work?" I've been editing this piece of work for over a year, and so right now it's adding the changes and then going back and reading what some of my beta readers said, making those changes, and then hopefully doing one last final read through, looking for any I'm accepting that I'm going to miss spelling and I'm going to miss grammar just because that's who I am and I'm just not fighting it anymore. I don't have a professional doing it, so whatever. And then I am hoping to have ARC readers in November.
My thing with grammar is that every culture has a different way of speaking and accents, and there's a different tone in the words that we choose specifically. Like, easy example, Americans spell color COLOR, Europeans spell color COL, there's a U in there, UR. And like neither one is wrong, it's just different. And like even when I'm typing stuff, because you always tell children you write how you speak. So it's important to hear your own voice in your head. And so I will write something out, I'll stop, I'll read it back, I'll listen to it, and I might change how stuff works. And a lot of the times, what I run into is I use a lot of French words without realizing that they're French. So Microsoft Word will say, "Oh, hey, this word is spelled wrong." I was like, "No, it is French." And I have to go and be like, "That is how to fact check how to spell my Spanish words, my French words, because even sometimes my Korean words, because all those 3 languages blend in when I'm typing." And it doesn't work.
For me, mine is I just like certain words like gray. Apparently, it's more European to spell gray, Grey,
Yeah.
and I spelled gray, Grey, and it's more American to do Gray, and so I get hit on that a lot. But I'm editing process is hard, editing process is polarizing, but I'm excited. I've really struggled to get this specific book out just because Olympic War hasn't been doing the numbers that I wanted it to do. And so, I have the whole, well, if no one read the first one, why is anyone going to read the second one thought process? But I'm moving past that and just focusing on getting this out. And then I have two other books in production. So,
I mean, the whole thing of if it's a second book, who's gonna read it? You'd be surprised having, a completed series out there, promoting it as a completed series actually will draw a lot of people in. A lot of readers don't necessarily want to read an unfinished series. They will say, "Oh, everything's here. I can consume all of it right now as opposed to having to wait."
I am that way. I don't, and I especially don't like it because right now, a lot in the writer culture is cliffhangers.
Mhm.
And I have anxiety. Like I can't just exist in your cliffhangers. Like it's so I already get so emotionally attached to a book. And then when you leave me a cliffhanger, it really is truly like fucking with my mind. So there's some series, the Legendborn series. That
Mhm.
series, the second book, Bloodmark, left me on a cliffhanger. And I have the third book, Oathbound, and I'm not reading it until she comes. Like, I bought the book, but I'm not
No.
reading it until she comes out with the fourth one because I don't have the emotional capacity to continuously be left on these
Right.
cliffhangers. Yeah, and wait, and you're not waiting like,
I swear, Laurel K. Hamilton burnt me out from cliffhangers. And also, Laurel K. Hamilton is probably the reason why I can't get into series like, ACOTAR, because 'cause I've already done my fairest much. I've done it.
mine is
I'm not I'm good.
what is the fourth wing? So everybody keeps talking about fourth
I
wing.
couldn't.
And I've been telling everybody, you can catch me reading Fourth Wing when she finishes the series. And this I will you called me a hipster a whole bunch of episodes ago. I don't think I was a hipster in that, but I am a hipster in this. I definitely do not like to start series when they're super hyped up, and I will explain why. I don't like to start series, whether they're TV, movies, or books, when they're super hyped up. Listen, it had nothing to do with that. This is different. I'll explain why. Because when you start a book series, when it's really hyped up, when you start a movie series, when it's really hyped up, it alters your perception of the movie. It alters your perception of the book. And sometimes it alters it in a good way, and sometimes it alters it in a bad way. So if someone keeps telling you, man, this book is amazing, man, this book is amazing, and you're expecting a life changing book, and you go read the book, and the book could be amazing, but you've already had so many people hype it up here that when you go read it, you feel let down. And so sometimes with a series, I will wait so that I can have an organic experience with it that is separate from whatever everybody else is saying or all the hype, and it could just be mine.
I can completely understand that. For me, I think it's very important to form your own opinions of things and not just bandwagon, not just be riding the wave that everyone else likes it, so I have to like it too, because then you lose your own voice. So I'll get book recommendations, I'll get anime recommendations all the time off of my TikTok. Said algorithm is fucking undefeated. But it's like you have to also give yourself space and time to really digest that information. Just because it's a book you may like, if you're not in the right mindset to enjoy it, you're not gonna like it.
Right. And so that's one of the things that I do. And there's some books that I read that are trendy and are popular. Anna Huang books I love, even though her last couple of books the most recent book she dropped, I loved. Her last couple of books before that, I wasn't really into. Her last 3, I would say. Abby Jimenez, anything that Abby Jimenez writes, I literally eat it up. She has this beautiful way of making, like, rom-com books that are very emotionally involved, and a lot of rom-coms are just silly and don't have a lot of emotional depth to them, and she has a beautiful way of weaving some very serious issues through her book, and I find it, therapeutic a little bit to be like, "Oh, her and her mom had a fucked up relationship, but I can laugh in these parts and heal in these parts." So I really like that. It just really depends. For me, Fourth Wing is just going you could catch me in, like, 5 years and maybe I'll touch it.
Yeah. It's also hard for me sometimes. It took me 2 years to read 1 book, and it's just, in pieces of it and just you go through different things, and your attention span wanes, and I was like, "I'm reading this book, I need to find this book." And I finally finished reading it, I think, like, in February, and it was a good book. It was a long book, but it's just your attention span wasn't there. Your brain chemistry wasn't allowing for it, and you have to give yourself grace. Don't feel like you have to rifle through your TBR list just to keep up, and I think that's what happens a lot with a lot of people who like reading books. But there's a difference between enjoying reading as a hobby and collecting books as a hobby. 2 separate things. Neither one of them are wrong. Enjoy yourself.
I agree. I've been more compassionate with myself to DNF a book. And just not even worrying about if it's a good reason or a crazy reason or a stupid reason. Like if there's a reason why my brain says this is stupid, I'm not fighting it anymore. I DNF'd the book Nolans, which was crazy. I DNF'd it and then I made a video about it, and the author who is, by the way, an actor on the TV show The Rookie, he commented on it and I was like, "Oh, fuck." 'Cause I mean, I wasn't mean about the book, but I was honest.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I talked about this before, but I don't like books that use slang. If your book says, "Give me a glizzy," I immediately just
Oh,
wanna stop.
yeah. I saw a post one of your posts about that.
Yeah, like, and I also struggle with third person right now, although I've been playing with it in my short story series because as a writer, I just wanna, like, flex muscles, and when you play with even if you don't write in third person, when you play with different perspectives in writing, it just makes you a better writer, but I didn't like it being in third person, and I really, really couldn't stand the slang, and to me, some of the dialogue, which is what a lot of people miss, because when you're in third person, you really have to be very descriptive. You really have to use very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very natural dialogue because you're missing that interconnection that you get in first person.
Mhm.
And those things to me were missing, but it's his freshman novel, and I'm hoping that, he did comment and said, "Well, I should check the end of the book because there is something in first person," and I am gonna do it. I'm gonna check the back of the book, and I you know, maybe one day it's also a YA book, so, that's important to note. So maybe one day
Yeah.
I can go back to it, and I'll be in a different mood, and I'll like it more, and those are some of the things that I remind myself when I DNF a book is, like, sometimes it doesn't mean not ever, it just means not right now.
Do you think that your boundary of not reading books that have slang in it comes from an educational bias?
I think it's twofold. Um, I yes, because my parents instilled in me at a really young age not to use slang, and slang was, you know, not professional. So I think in that sense there is a little bias on it. But the second part of it is that it just to me it feels really forced and trying to be hip, and it doesn't come off very natural. And it also dates the book. There's only I
Mm,
because in 2 years, we're not gonna be using these slangs anymore, and then it's gonna feel really kind of awkward when you read it, and I think there is a way that you can use slang as it comes naturally, and I think that there's a way that but a lot of people input slang in their books, and that frustrates me, so I think it's twofold. One part is this and one part is that. I will say that, The Outsiders uses slang, and it doesn't bug me at all. But it also
Also, the
feels
Outsiders is classic.
right, and but that's I think that's one of the beautiful things about it is that the slang in it is being used in such a natural way, and there was, one instance in the book where they were he was using slang to his mom, which I found a little odd just because me knowing younger kids don't tend to use slang to their parents because then the parents will mimic it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so old." And I mean, there were other things in it, but those were my big 2. But yeah, I do think that some of it does come from the fact that my parents raised me not to use slang.
I think that slang can be used well if done correctly because it can give agency and voice to the character. But I do agree that if it's not done authentically, it can come off as forced. I don't think that glizzy as is a fad slang because I've been hearing it being said for more than 2 years. So I think like it just depends on where the author is coming from and their motivation for putting it in. Like if you're just dropping in skibbity, Riz and shit like that, I'm like,
By the way,
what how nigga,
Skibbity and
huh?
Riz were in the book.
Okay, so Riz, I can accept. Skibbity, I'm like, that's very new and hurts my head. I know what it means. It doesn't mean I want to know what it means, but I know what it means. And I mean, if it's a YA novel, then it's geared towards that generation that's gonna read it and connect with it. And okay, fun, enjoyable.
Yeah. So those are things going on. Last little just us update before we get into our pop culture roundup. We are now on YouTube. Our faces aren't on YouTube, but our voices, a little bit of our faces are on YouTube now. So I finally went through a very strenuous process of having to get approval verification through YouTube, and I was supposed to get it through a Substack, and it never came through my Substack, and then I had to find out how to change my RSS email and then refresh. It was so much. But we're now on
Hmm.
YouTube and
Very cool.
I am not posting shorts yet on YouTube just because I am using a trial version of some social media platform software that pushes our videos out so I can have more free space to think. But I am posting mini segments onto YouTube of our podcasts.
Really cool.
So those are I
Sent me the text. I was like, wait, what?
Yep, yep, and the second mini segment went up today.
Very cool. Very cool. I actually, I know I texted to you my picture reaction because I was actually reading some of the comments and I was like, what? What is I get a good giggle. I get a good chuckle off a lot of the comments that some of these basement dwellers will say. Keep them coming at raised engagement. I love it.
Yes, please. We also been getting really good engagement on social media. I also got into Spotify for creators, so now I can post little video clips on Spotify as well of our podcast. So I've been doing some work this week for the podcast.
Definitely, definitely.
All right. We're going to get into our pop culture roundup. First, we have Cardi B's trial. Have you seen have you seen the clips?
I didn't even know it was a thing, and then I was like, "Wait," what? And then I saw, like, someone drawing the picture, and then, like, I found out what happened, and I was like, "Why even this is a waste of tax dollar funds. Why does this even go to trial? This is so fucking stupid." And the whole thing is a fucking HIPAA violation.
It's so Cardi B is such a comedian, and the fact that she can do it on the stage of like a lawsuit in a courtroom.
Explain to people what's going on, because like, for those who don't know. No.
So and I don't have all the information because I didn't know. Well, I just woke up one day and saw it on
You
my
want me to say
TikTok.
what I know?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so apparently what happened was Cardi B was on her way to see her OBGYN. And as she's walking through the lobby or waiting room to go see the OBGYN, the security guard starts following behind her with her cell phone up recording. And Cardi B and true Cardi B fashion, like, excuse me, hello. Oh, that's not okay. What are you doing? You're being a weirdo. And the security guard's like, I'm not even recording you. I'm doing something else. Which obviously was a lie. And then so they start having a fight in the hallway. And then like the doctor comes out or his receptionist, whatever, and is like trying to break up the fight. There's a whole big scuffle. um, they go about the rest of their business, and then the woman tries to sue Cardi B, saying she allegedly hit her in the head with the phone, and there is no footage of any of this happening. It's complete fabrication. And I'm just like, what in the actual nonsense? It deserves the fuck around and find out stamp. Can we have one? Can we make one? Fuck around, find out. You are the dunce of the week.
Yeah. It definitely I will try to make a fuck around and find out snap. I think that'd be so cute. It for sure is giving it's just so stupid. I've seen it and I've seen the clips of the cross-examination of the plaintiff, the person who's accusing Cardi B, and her saying, "Yeah, well, I have scratches on my face from her fingernails." And then the lawyer saying, "Oh, okay. So, do you have pictures?" And she says, "Well, I did, but I can't find them now." You have no physical evidence of this. And interestingly, the doctor that ended up coming out of her office said, "Hey, I did actually end up with scratches, and it didn't come from Cardi B because Cardi B was behind me, and I was trying to get in the middle between the security guard and Cardi B." But the funnier part of this is just Cardi B and the questions they ask and how she responds. One day she wore a black wig, the next day she wore a blonde wig, and the lawyer questioning her says, "Well, yesterday you were here and you had black hair, and now you have blonde hair. So which one is your real hair?" And she goes, "They're wigs." And it's just fucking hilarious because the questions that they're
Well,
asking,
that's a crazy for a
question for
lawyer
a
to ask. Like, obviously, you know that the culture wears wigs. She wears multicolored wigs. Like, why are you even asking what's her real hair? What are you trying to gain from that question? If you're trying to gain credibility, like they're wigs. What the hell, my guy?
yeah, it was such a stupid question. It had literally no validity to it. And they've been asking a lot of those questions. They asked her something about her being pregnant. And she's just saying, "I'm disabled." "Well, are you disabled because you're pregnant?" She's like, "You're very disabled when you're pregnant." He's like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "You want me to tell you all the things I can't do when I'm pregnant?" Like, why is that a question? You get a whole fucking parking space when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So of course, yeah, you're disabled when you're pregnant. It's crazy. It's the whole situation is just interesting and it's just
Listen,
turned
making feet from scratch is hard work.
it's I've literally just watched the videos for how goofy she makes the lawyers look.
Good. Hopefully, it'll get just dismissed because I don't see that woman winning any type of compensation. It's just a waste. It's a farce. In fact, it might be the biggest distraction we've had in a number of other cultures for what's going on in the rest of the world.
I agree. All right. Next topic is Millie Bobby Brown adopting a baby at 21. So last year, Millie Bobby Brown got married. And
Mhm,
this
mhm.
year, she at 21 decided that she had the funds, the means, the lifestyle to adopt a baby. Her and her husband adopt a baby, and she is getting so much backlash for it.
That is dumb. But I think the reason why she gets backlash for it is because she didn't have that awkward rebellion teenage phase. Like a lot of it has been people saying she's styled too old. And I've seen some of the rhetoric saying how she looks 30 or she looks 40. I'm like, that styling can be more mature, but the age that they started off with Stranger Things is not the age that she's at now. And viewers have a disconnect with that. And she is a fully realized young woman that is able to get married, able to adopt, and she's always said she wanted to have her kids young. And I think the machine They just mad that they weren't able to exploit her the same way they did other child stars like Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan.
I think that it kind of ties back into what we were saying before. I don't see anybody, I don't see why you would give a fuck about what somebody's doing with their life when they have way more money than you, and like that's their money, that's their life. If she has the desire, the means to take care of a kid, fucking all for it. I've talked about wanting to adopt several times, and I think that that's one of the most selfless things that you could do in life. And being able to say, this is what I want, and I don't want to do it where having a kid of your own, that's all on you. But being able to say, instead of this, let me go in and adopt, and let me, the height of my career, at the height of everything, let me go share this with a kid. We
Mhm,
had
mhm,
conversations about when, maybe it is better to do things when you're a little bit older, but we also had conversations about that is how you are sociologically. That doesn't affect everybody. And you're right, she
mhm,
has
mhm,
always presented as more mature, and some people just are more mature. And there's nothing wrong with
mhm,
that. If she is already in a place, she already has her identity,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
She already has her career. She has already
mhm,
found a person that she wants to spend her life with, whether they end up spending the whole life together or pieces of it, who knows? But she has already found a way to settle into a life that she loves. And that's something
mhm.
that people in their 30s are still struggling to do. But if she's already found it, what the fuck does it matter?
I think it's also hilarious. She is financially independent. She has means, so she has the time and she has the energy. And it's the pendulum swing is so ridiculous because here she is 21, married and adopting, not even physically giving birth, but adopting this child to start her family. And they're trying to say something's wrong with her because she didn't get to have a quote unquote young adolescence or childhood as in and she wasn't, like, in the streets or at the club doing all kind of nonsense. Not that being in the club is nonsense, it's a fun time, that's what you wanna do, have fun. But it's like, then you have the same paradigm shift saying, "Oh, we have a problem with teenage mothers and, the brain drain, and we need to be more educated before we're having kids." But then they're also saying, "We have a problem with the loneliness epidemic, and children aren't having women aren't having babies." Up there. Women aren't having babies, and we need to get more women to have babies. Like, well, what do you want? Your want and your need keep shifting, and trying to keep up with your standard is exhausting.
I think what they want is control. And I think that it might have been different if she decided to have a baby and not adopt a baby.
Mm,
I think that the
I
world
agree.
I think they would have made little comments here and there, but I think it wouldn't have been a big thing. We would have been like, "Oh my gosh, Millie Bobby Brown is pregnant." But I also I from an aspect of working, I get it, right? Like you're adopting a kid, you don't have to spend the 9 months while your body changes and, working and everything like that. You don't have to spend the 9 months after having to get your body back because you're an actor and your body is your art form in some way or another. You get to almost instantly have a life that you want, and you get to give someone whose parent wasn't ready or anything like that a life that they deserve. And it's a beautiful
Or
thing.
maybe it's the fact that, like you said, she didn't have the baby, and so because you see, like, Haley, the DZG and Haley, what is her name? From,
Haley Bailey.
Haley Bailey. Like, she had a baby before they got married, and that they have their own set of drama. And then the other one, a lot of cases where you had up and coming young actors having babies without being married, um, and was enough what was seemed like a trend. So maybe they're upset because she got out of that quote unquote trend because she's married and adopted a baby, as opposed to at the height of her career, got pregnant and had a baby and now has been labeled as a baby mama. that could also be a reason why they're upset whether they wanna admit that or not.
Yeah, I think that it's just a control issue. On to the next topic. Speaking of baby mamas, Sabrina Carpenter dropped a new album.
She did?
She did. Her new album, which is oh Lanta, at the tip of my tongue, Man's Best Friend, dropped
Didn't she
on
just come out with a single Man Child?
Manchild came out earlier this year, a couple months ago.
Is that a single or is that an album?
A single from the album.
Okay, good enough.
So she came out with Manchild. She just came out with Tears, which the music video has Rocky Horror Picture Show inspiration from it. I've listened to most of it. It is a very horny piece of work.
Horny or horny?
Horny.
Okay.
It is it focuses like a lot of her higher vocals. It's more of a dreamy, disco-y kind of country pop aspect to it. I liked some of the songs. Some of the songs are really interesting to me. It's not my favorite out of her albums, but I think that that's because she's going in a different direction now.
Mhm,
And she's found a niche for her. And
mhm,
that may not have been where I liked her music to go. It felt a little lacking in substance, but that's just me. I think that the album is beautiful. There are some really good songs on it. And
mhm,
she has a really good way of blending comedy and sarcasm in music,
mhm.
which I quite enjoy.
She's a theater kid, so I'm always interested in what she puts out, and her stage productions are always visually interesting, and I did see a snippet on TikTok of a music video, and she said, "It's a music video. Someone you have to die. I'm keeping up with the trend. Like, give people what they want." And I do appreciate that she knows her brand and feeds into it, and I think my one of my favorite songs from her is actually "Nonsense."
I love nonsense.
Speaking of nonsense, yes. You wanna add your 2 cents? Alright, cool. He says, "Yeah, don't bite me." Yeah.
But no, I love Nonsense too, and I think Nonsense is what started her on this kind of satirical comedy music thing, and it's not my favorite to listen to in, like, succession, but I do like bits and pieces of their song. There's a song called, When Did You Get Hot?
Okay.
And it's fucking hilarious. It's about, like, her friends introducing her to this guy, and I guess she knew him from before, and then they're like, "Yeah, you know Declan," or whatever, and she says, "When did you get hot all of a sudden?" And it's
Uh,
so, so comical. She has another song. I think you'll like Tears because it's basically saying it makes me wet when you're a responsible guy. Like, it makes me so super horny when you are just doing the things a gentleman should do.
do you think that her run on SNL has influenced the silliness and corniness of the album?
I think that she always had a part of it. There was always some mocking quality in some of her songs. And I think that she's now just really leaning into it and finding herself in it. I think that I love watching her evolve. Her next album might be a little bit more serious and a little bit more in depth. I'm not always a big fan of playful albums, but I do know they have their place. And this one is playing being playful off of some of her real life experiences, and it's just silly and it's fun to listen to. I can't A lot of it is really high pitched, kinda how you were talking about Nara Smith, and after a while, it just kinda bugs you a little bit.
Vocal Fry, man. Funny.
That part is a little struggle for me, but I've caught myself chuckling to almost every song I was listening to. Alright, to switch subjects completely and to go into something way more serious, we have a clip that I'm going to show you for our next topic.
This one, not love lost between these two.
So I want to pause it right there for a second while we talk about it. So what you guys are seeing is that there was a tennis match this last weekend. It was played between Taylor Townsend and Helena Ostapenko, and Townsend ended up winning the match. At the end of the match, Helena Ostapenko confronted her, asking her to apologize for winning a point on a net, winning like a net point. The ball, I guess, hit the net, and the ref didn't call it. Is a ref in tennis? Yes.
Is a reference tennis.
And the ref didn't call it, and she was very upset about it, but it took a really dark turn because what you're seeing a little bit, you're able to hear some of it, and then the booing starts to cover it. But what happens is that Helena Ostapenko then goes on to say, "You are uneducated. You are uneducated, and you have no class. And you are lucky that you're playing in the US. Come find me outside of the US." And it is extremely inappropriate, and it has so many racial undertones in it.
And overtones.
Right. And I was watching a clip of oh, what is her name? Is it Naomi?
It was Naomi Osaka.
Yeah, Naomi Osaka, and she was saying that that's not the worst thing Helena Ostapenko said. I then did some research and found a video of her going off on a referee at the end of her game and telling her how she'll never work on another court of hers. And what feels like for no reason, if she loses, she needs a reason why she lost. And she takes this kind of rhetoric. And it was just crazy to watch.
She is an incredibly sore loser, and she has a history of being an incredibly sore loser and verbally attacking her opponents when she loses. And her comment of "see me at the US," I do love what Taylor response to her was. She's like, "Well, I beat you outside. I beat you in Canada, and I beat you in New York outside of the U.S. Open. Like, whatever." And at the end of the day, when she did her press conference, and they did ask her about it, she said, "I'm still here. I won. I'm moving on, and she's going home." And that's what we should be talking about, not someone who's a sore loser. And I just want to like applaud her for that. 'Cause when it came across my newsfeed, because I love tennis. I love tennis the way you love football. Ironically, for the exact same reasons. You watch football with grandpa, I watch tennis with grandpa. And so it's so frustrating when we want to enjoy a sport and we are constantly pushed to act out of our nature for being successful in a sport that we are the minority in.
I agree. I actually didn't watch football with grandpa. I watched football with my dad. And that's how I came to love football. It is disheartening because I do have a love of tennis. I went to 2 tennis camps. I actually want to get back into playing it one day just because I want to be the exercise that I'm desiring right now is more physical activity and less just being in the gym and lifting weights. That's kind of where I'm at right now in my journey. It's frustrating because tennis is such a European standard sport. That's my nice way of saying it's a white sport.
I call it European standard of a sport. When I think of European standard sport, I think of polo
I mean more. I mean, tennis
or
is.
tennis.
I get, yes, tennis is.
It's okay. They're like you divide sports into class demographic, like by the size of the ball. So basketball is more accessible because you can put up a hoop anywhere. Football, you require a larger field. Baseball, you require a larger. Soccer, you require a larger field. Tennis can be more urban because, like basketball, it's a smaller field, and you have racquetball and like pickleball now, which is drunk tennis. And so it was a comedian that made a like golf requires so much more land because rules are made and the size of the ball. And it was saying that, this ball equates like the class and the smaller the ball is, the more classy the sport is seen. That's an example.
So, yes, but I mean, I was trying to not call it like a white sport, but it was a white sport. That's why I was saying more
Yes,
European.
predominantly the players are Caucasian.
Yes, and tennis, even though it is so the to piggyback on what you're saying, basketball is a sport that you only need one ball for, and honestly, you could create people create hoops out of broken down crates and things like that. Football as well. Football has a lot of accessibility for urban people because once again, even though you do need a bigger field to play the full sport, to practice, all you need is a ball to pass around. And those balls are generally cheaper. Obviously, helmets and things like that when you play professionally aren't, but just to play the sport itself, you don't need a lot. Then you get into soccer. Soccer is a little bit more accessible as well, although not a lot of urban people play it. We do play versions of it. We play like curveball where I was from, which was kind of
Well,
similar.
FIFA's really popular within Latin America.
Right. And then you get into baseball. Baseball requires more equipment and
Mhm.
equipment gets expensive, and that's where you start to see the divide between just having to have a ball and having to have equipment because baseball doesn't isn't just a ball and a glove, and a glove can be pretty pricey, but a bat is really pricey, and those things,
It's really pricey.
cleats are really pricey as well. And then you get into tennis, and tennis is pricey in the sense of having to have a tennis racket, and our grandfather play tennis a lot, and he also restrung people's tennis rackets for them. And it's important to have, good tension on your tennis racket and to make sure that that's taken care of because that affects how you play. And that a tennis racket can be really expensive. You do have to buy quite a lot of balls because they cycle through really quickly, and making sure that you get your racket restrung, that can add to a price of it. And then you just go up and up. Golf is expensive because you buy balls all the time, and golf clubs are highly
Club.
expensive. And in clubs you can't just have one or two, you need nine.
Not to mention the range. I've been seeing those TikTok videos of the guys going to the range and how much money it costs to be on the range, the uniform you have to wear on the golf range. I was like, that's a whole lot of BS just to do some ball hitting. Like, what?
Mom
No.
mom actually did a golf tournament yesterday, and she had to take her golf clubs, and you do have to dress a certain way. I took her golfing once for Mother's Day. I think it was like 40, $50. And this was on a military at a military place. So the golf course that we were using, we got a little cheaper because it was military. But it adds up. It adds up a lot. It adds up so very much. And then, there's a lot to it. So yes, accessibility to
I
sports.
also think that if the sport requires a uniform of dress, it's in a different tax bracket because like because you can run ball, you can hoop in pretty much anything. We have your basketball shorts, your sneakers, and you just go. Whereas like, I agree with you, like the equipment becomes different, but even outside the uniform, the fact that in order to play golf, you have to be dressed like in a polo, in a whole different outfit that costs more than some people make, puts it in a different it does, it puts it in a different economic standard for enjoyment, sadly.
I do want to read because I find this very hypocritical going back to the Helena Ostenpinko. She did take to her Instagram, and I want to read this because I was very disappointed, but we often know that people are terrible at taking accountability. She says, "Wow, how many messages I receive that I am a racist. I was never a racist in my life, and I respect all nations of people in the world. For me, it doesn't matter where you come from. There there are some rules in tennis, and unfortunately, when the crowd is with you, you can't use it in disrespectful way to your opponent. Unfortunately for me, coming from such a small country, I don't have a huge support and a chance to play in my homeland. I always love to play in the US and US Open, but this is the first time someone is approaching the match this disrespectful way." She also There was also, I think, a statement that she made on her story as well, saying that she has a language barrier. And when she was saying uneducated, she meant in the field of tennis, but that doesn't negate that you also said she has no class. So I,
Yeah, no, and also Townsend is far from uneducated in the realms of tennis. Like I did some looking into her tennis career and that lovely woman has been through a lot. Um and she deserves her flowers. But the bottom line is, even if you're coming from a small country, do not weaponize at this point from that apology. Wasn't an apology. You're weaponizing your I'm from a small country. Don't judge me for my actions. My culture is different than yours. That's a weaponized give me a pass. But the fact remains, you are a sore loser. And this is not your first instance being a sore loser. Learn how to take a L. Or you know what? Get better and win. You don't have to take that L.
Yes, learn how to take the L. All right, next is billionaires are deciding that once again they are going to try to take a trip down to see the Titanic because apparently imploding one
No,
time is not enough.
maybe that should get the fuck around and find out, Stan.
Because they going to fuck around and find out. I don't understand. I mean, honestly, natural selection.
No,
Natural
but what
selection.
obsession was wanting to go down to the Titanic? Like, they made a movie about it. You think the fucking opal is down there? Do you not have cognitive reasoning? It was fiction.
I have I can understand the desire. The part of me that's an explorer would love to see it. I would not risk my life to see it. If I could be a part of an exhibition and they were using a bot to go down and show it to me and I could see it more on a big screen, more in that atmosphere, I think I'd be okay. If they were like, okay, here's a tour, we're going to snorkel a little and you can see some of these remains and then we're going to use the robot to get down to the real good stuff, that would be fine for me. I don't need to risk my life. I do understand the desire to want to see it because it is such a monumental piece of history. It's so interesting. I was reading The Devil in a White City, and it had the beginning of it and the end of it had a tie in to the Titanic and the beginning of these bigger cruise ships. But it is, I don't, I'm not about to risk my life.
It's incredibly interesting how they took a failed voyage. The Titanic is a failed voyage that resulted in a mass amount of its passengers meeting their mortality because they lacked the foresight to make sure they had adequate life rafts and boats. And this tragedy of travel has been inflated in into a tourist economy. Let's take a look at it. It's not just from a scientific perspective because we know what happened at what point. What is the fascination? The pressure to go all the way down to see it is will kill you. Like it will pop like a soda can. I just don't. For me, I just don't understand why you want to go down and look for it. What are you hoping to find? Everybody down there, down dead. As for me, like someone who lives in the Caribbean and loves coral, I'm more interested to see like, is the coral growing? Like, I want to know. That's what I want to see. Like, how has the ocean reclaimed that? But I don't need to see the shipwreck. It's just dead people. What you trying to do? Pull up some bodies? They gone. What you trying to do?
I'll say this interesting fact, and we're going to move on to the next topic. An interesting fact is recently they did a study and they noticed the glacier and they maneuvered so that they didn't hit the glacier right on. And there was a study that showed, theoretically, obviously, that if they would have just hit the glacier straight on, everybody would have survived.
I mean, so if you want to go for learning how to avoid something like that in the future, fine. I can understand wanting to go down and get like the wreckage to see the impact of it. But at some point, when do you move on? Granted, yes, the Titanic is for some people their obsession. It's like it's their ADHD hyper focus. But come on, Grandpa, can we talk about something else? I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn.
We're going to move on. The next topic we're going to talk about is just mentioning really quickly that there is going to be a Degrassi documentary that is going to come up in the next couple of months.
September 13th at the Canadian Film Festival.
Yes. So I am holding out to talk about it because a lot of those documentaries that were meant to be more eye-opening have tended to be more exploitive. I would say look at the Nickelodeon documentary that ended up having such a controversy because a lot of the things that they used weren't approved. They used information that they didn't have access to. They were racist to some of the Black creators or Black actresses that they were interviewing. There's a lot of controversy around it, so I do want to wait until it comes out before we decide if we really want to talk about it or not talk about it. But I did want to mention it because I know that both of us are huge Degrassi fans.
I'm
I'm
interested to
interested to
see
see
how it's
how it's
going to
going
come
to
out
come out
because
because
I've
I've
watched
watched.
Degrassi, the new generation, the original show, the TV movies. It definitely was a phenomenon. As a TV show that was talking about the real experiences of what a teenager was. And it was not a reality TV show in the aspect of what a reality TV show is now, but it was also scripted. It was one of those instances where the episodes were what was going on within the teenagers' lives. And it was one of the first times that was actually being seen and shown to teenagers were watching it that were that same age that could relate. And I think that's why it's a widespread of multiple generationals who have appreciated Degrassi, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they present Eastern and what angle they take it as, and I am definitely intrigued to see what they have to say.
Next one is piggybacking on the fact that we mentioned last week that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are now engaged. Travis Kelce has announced that he is going to do a collection with American Eagle.
Okay,
Okay.
but I'll say this, with the Travis Kelce and the Travis Kelce brothers, they do have a number of brand deals out there, and as you stated earlier, brand deals do take time to what's the actual word? Not ferment, for
For them to come into fruition, it takes a while for them to.
fruition. Brand deals take fruition. And is the timing of it a little sketch? Yeah, because you had the American Eagle infamous, jeans ad that recently came out. And then you have the announcement of the engagement. So definitely his brand and his brand capacity is better and his brand stock is up. And I think for American Eagle, it's good to attach themselves to him to bring brand awareness and hopefully money through the door. But we've also talked about the fact that what his political leanings are, and you know how I feel about that. So, kudos to you, young man, on your engagement and your love, and I hope you make some money.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with. It's difficult when you come to these celebrities, and we've talked about it before, of holding them accountable whether we like them or not. I think that it's nice. It is interesting just looking at kind of the pictures and how he is in his collection. There is interestingly a lot more diversity than you would normally see an American Eagle in his collection. And so I know that these photos happened a long time ago. I wonder if this was pushed up for specific reasons. I wonder if because that happens sometimes.
Mhm.
They push up collections when they're in controversy because this is going to stop the conversation about Sydney Sweeney. And on the
Yeah.
heels of Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift, the narrative is going to switch, which is a little frustrating to me to be a part of that, but I respect that. I do respect there was an instance earlier this year when Kim Kardashian was in a magazine and it was like this technical or tech no, to be specific, AI kind of internet photo shoot that she did. And she did this photo shoot months ago and it featured a
Mhm.
Tesla. And she
Mhm.
got a lot of backlash for it, and she said, "Hey, guys, you realize that I probably shot this ad months and months ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't have control of when it comes out." And so I
Mhm.
will it is frustrating. It is frustrating that they're using his name and subsequently Taylor Swift's name to make their American Eagle is using it to make their brand better, to fix their brand. That's frustrating. And it's frustrating that the narrative is soon going to change away from the Sydney Sweeney thing and go to this Travis Kelce thing. But outside of that, I respect that he may not have so much control over it.
Mhm. And it's very interesting because a lot of consumers were always taught that the best way we can boycott or our pleasure is with our brand dollars. If you don't like something, just don't purchase it. Just don't buy it. Don't click on the likes. Don't engage with it, and that way it'll go away. And we're seeing another example of that distraction tactic in, I love my parasocial relationships with K-pop and especially primarily BTS. And we're seeing an issue where
No,
Taeyong did the first pitch for the Dodgers on Monday, and the Dodgers have a relationship with Coca-Cola. And apparently, while he was there, like he held up a Coke can, and so there's a call. So I think it's No Thanks brand or the No Thanks website that has a list of brands to boycott. So they've listed BTS as one of the brands to boycott now. So a lot of members of the fandom army are calling for people to boycott BTS for, what the brand is saying. And it's interesting watching the fans who are saying, okay, morals over BTS and leaving the fan. And it's interesting to see the fans saying, I'm still staying, I'm not leaving. They're just people, they don't have control. And it's so strange watching that play out because what artists and public figures don't have control over 100% is the brands that they're affiliated with. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And you have to give people grace and remember that just because you're a fan does not mean you actually know.
Yeah. All right. Last one, which has a perfect lead into, is that so we talked about K-pop, the K-pop Pop Star Academy that was a Netflix special that got us the global K-pop group Cat's Eye. It was an experiment with Geffen and Hybe, which one is a Korean-based music production company and one is an American-based music production company. They have announced that they are going to come out with a new girl group. It is mostly confirmed that'll be 4 members. 3 members are going to be members that didn't make it through their round that they did in Pop Star Academy. The first one is Samara. She is similar to Manon. She is no, I believe Samara is German and Hispanic. I'm not sure. I think she was from Brazil. No, she's from Brazil. She's from Brazil. There is going to be Emily. Emily was someone that I know that Geffen and Hyde wanted to make it to Cat's Eye, but she ended up not making it. She got a lot of hate. There is another girl, Lexi. I love Lexi. She was super cute. She actually made the decision to leave the Pop Star Academy experiment because they were originally just supposed to be forming this group. And then at the second half, they decided that it was going to be um I cannot think of the word that they use, but like an elimination show.
Okay.
And so people were going to vote for who they wanted to go home. And she didn't like the competitive aspect of that and kind of using social media and how cruel social media was to some of the girls. So she decided to take her out. And there was one instance in the series where they did do something really morally wrong, which was they had all of the girls pick their 6 or 5 person group, and they told the girls that they weren't going to show it to anybody. And then they ranked everybody based on how many people picked them for the group. And then they showed all of the girls what everybody said. So your friends who you thought, were you're super close to may have not picked you based on them feeling that they don't know if you would be good in a group or not. And it created such a controversy. So Lexi left, but she is now a confirmed member. And there's just one more member that everybody is waiting to be confirmed. But I did wanted to give you a notice that we will be getting another Geffen x Hybe global K-pop group really soon.
Well, I mean, Hype is a machine. He definitely, the machine is designed to make money. And there's two other controversies going on with BTS right now that apparently the BTS comeback is solved because Jin doesn't agree with their artistic vision. Today's Jungkook's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to Jungkook. There's also a controversy because apparently some 40-year-old Sang showed up to Jungkook's house and the police had to come. And on his birthday live, he said, hey, Don't come. You gonna go to jail. And other one is that a Jimin dating rumor, and Hive actually put out an announcement saying, while Jimin and a person may have had mutual affection for each other in their past, they are no longer affiliated. And I was like, "Whoop,
That's the nice way of
that is
them saying,
dope."
we found out that they were together and we told them stop this shit.
I mean, so the person in question has put out like videos of them popping up, and people are going back and trying to debunk the video and say when the timeline was and how fast it would have been. I'm like, these men are 29 and 30 and 32. They dated, they got partners, they probably getting married and having babies, and you don't like let them. They're not 19. Let them. They're grown. Stop trying to hold them back. Let them.
Yeah. All right, we are going to get into our next segment. This one is going to be a fun one. There is a Bored Panda article, and it is about princess treatment or bare minimum. There are a lot of podcasts doing this right now. And it's been interesting. I've been seeing this from a lot of male-driven podcasts where the males, and it's so interesting because they checked each other and you can see which
Okay.
one of the males are like the more toxic males and how they are in relationship. And there's this one
Which
guy.
man is more toxic than which other man? Which woman is more toxic than what other woman? Okay, okay.
I thought it would be fun to play the game. So we're going to do this really quickly. We're going to try to go through as many of these as we can. And we're just going to go whether we think they're princess treatment or bare minimum.
Do I have to keep score? Do you need a pen and paper?
We're just giving it as is. It's just fun.
Okay.
All right. First one, buying flowers randomly.
Aw,
That's bare minimum.
bare minimum.
Yeah. All right. Filling up her car with gas.
Bare minimum.
Agreed. Yes, I also would say bare minimum. This one's weird because this is remembering her birthday.
Bare minimum.
So bare minimum. Like, if you don't remember your person's,
You remember your friend's birthday? What the fuck?
yeah, if you don't remember your partner's birthday, then just give up now.
Yeah.
Turning down plans to stay in when she's not feeling great. I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Because like you want your partner to be there for you when you're not feeling well, but also if you have plans that you've been looking forward to, you should be able to go. It really depends on how sick the other person is.
Yeah, I think it could be somewhere in the middle. I think that it's not necessarily bare minimum, but I don't think it's princess treatment. I also think it depends on the type of relationship that you and the person that you're with has. Okay, next one
And also,
is
I've seen people weaponize that I'm sick, can't go, which is just
yeah, very true. Next one, writing love letters.
Mm.
I want to say I think that one's princess treatment.
I want to say it's bare minimum because you should be showing your partner romantic love, but not everyone is into love letters. Yeah, well, maybe princess treatment.
All right, planning surprise vacations.
Bare minimum.
I'm on the fence. I think planning surprise dates is bare minimum. Surprise vacations is a little up there. I wouldn't call it princess treatment, but somewhere in
It
between.
depends. Like if you're planning the vacation, that's one big gigantic date. You know, planning planning events is bare minimum. Like that's your level of interest in this relationship.
All right, offering to pay for her cosmetic procedures. I'm in between, somewhere in between.
Okay, if you just say like offering to pay for her nails, then that's bare minimum.
Yeah, we're talking about nails, hair, massages, stuff like
Bare
that.
minimum.
I'm in between. Giving her your hoodie or jacket when she's cold. Fucking bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Fucking bare minimum. Opening the car door for her. Bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Sending good morning, good night texts every day. Bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
I know you don't like them that much, but bare minimum.
No, it depends on where the relationship is. Like if you are in a committed relationship, then yes, good morning and good night are necessary. But if you're just starting out, then don't flood my phone because that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. All right. Cooking dinner when she's sick. Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. That's
Paying for her hobbies. Princess treatment.
princess treatment. Like, yeah, no. Because the level. Because what if her hobby is extremely fun?
Yeah, I think it's princess treatment. Carrying her purse. I'm gonna vote this princess treatment.
I'm gonna go bare minimum. Like, if we out and we shopping and I say, "Babe, hold my fucking purse. Wear that shit like the man that you are."
It's funny,
Those in the purse, lip gloss. That's it.
the 14-year-old went shopping and I held all her bags for her. And I was like, this is what a dude is supposed to do for you. I understand it's princess treatment, but I want her to expect princess treatment. So I'm like, this is what a guy's supposed to be doing for you.
Oh, but damn,
Picking her up from work.
that's bare minimum.
Bare minimum. All right, taking her on shopping sprees. Princess treatment.
That is princess treatment. I will say that's princess treatment.
Texting her back immediately. Fucking bare
Bare minimum.
minimum. Ugh. Making her coffee every morning.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. And I say that both ways, girl and boy. Super bare minimum.
That the coffee thing is so important to me. I dated someone who refused to make me coffee, and it's just so frustrating. And so now when I look at potential partners, they better be making me coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I'm just not dealing with it.
Heard. Oh, my phone is about to die. So we're going to do one last one. Taking care of the bill.
Bare minimum.
Somewhere in between. Somewhere in between, because I do think my rule is that if you initiated the date, whoever initiated the date pays. That is my rule. So if I initiate a date, if I say, hey babe, I want to take you out, I'm paying. But if you say, hey babe, I want to take you out,
Depends on
you're paying.
what your role and your rules in the relationship are.
Right. So that's why I think it's somewhere in between. But that was a little fun game that we were going to play really quickly.
I think it's important for people to look at bare minimum as things you would do with your friends. Like, I would pay for my friend to get their nails done. I'd pay for my friend's food. I'll pick my friend up, things you would do for your friend, because what separates friendship from romance is the romantic overtones of it. And I think that women have a, a more ability to be openly friendly with one another without being accused of it being sexual, whereas men don't have the ability to be openly friendly and caring of each other without having their sexuality questioned. And I think that's the biggest problem in a patriarchal society.
Yeah. All right. Our last topic today is a conversation that I truly love, about something that I truly love and I truly value. Although there are lots of conversations circling around this right now and how it is not as effective and how it is being debunked, but it is the 5 love languages. So, to give some context, I haven't read the full book. I don't I don't have a desire to read the full book, but the 5 love languages basically states that we have 5 love languages. The love languages are gift giving, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch. And that in these, you rank higher in some and rank lower in others. And that is a way to help you understand how you give and receive love and how your partner gives and receives love, and helping with communication and differences in relationships. It has been debunked in some ways, because when it first came out, it was not peer reviewed, and a lot of people are noting that it sometimes doesn't fit every mold.
I mean, the book came out in 1992, and then the author is not a doctor, not in theory, not in psychology, not in theology. He has a degree from, hold on, I pulled this up to make sure I can quote it correctly. Because the 5 love languages is definitely something that gets thrown around a lot. A lot of people use it when they're explaining like what they want or what they don't want. It's even a question on Hinge. Figure out how you are dating. Um, Baptist minister Dr. Gary Chapman. Now, he is a doctor not because he's a psychiatrist or a doctor of psychology, because he has a PhD in adult education from the Southwestern Baptist Theology Seminary.
So there is a theology background.
Yeah. It's a degree that's primarily geared towards preparation for Christian ministry.
Right. So I will say that from what I've been reading about it, a lot of the commentary against it is that it comes from a more Christian background and that it is not the be all end all of communication for relationship and it's not the be all end all and the defining way of if a relationship is good or not. I've never read the full book and I've never taken the five love languages that far. To me, it is always just meant to be a tool. And I think that's to his deficit. He wrote a, I mean, like, to make a tool, you have to write a whole book about it. And sometimes that book is very convoluted and doesn't fill with everything. But using things to your own discretion and realizing that everything that you read isn't meant to be Bible, isn't meant to be a law. It's meant to sometimes just give you information. I think that the five love languages as a tool to be able to understand the way that you like to be shown affection and love and the way that your partner likes to be shown affection and love is an important aspect of a successful relationship. It's not the main factor, but I think it is a very important aspect of a successful relationship. And I also think it's a very important aspect of self-love and self-care and understanding not just how you like people to show up for you romantically, because it can change romantically, it can change whether you're younger, it can change depending on your relationship, but it also helps you understand what you're looking for in general from friends, from family members, and why sometimes you may feel as if you aren't receiving love, even if your family members feel like they are giving you love. For
I
me,
completely agree with like it's very important to know what love looks like to you and how you express love and how you interpret love and how you receive that love. And your interpretation and receiving are not the same things because someone's act of love could be, hey, I put gas in your car, and someone else's act of love could be, hey, I put away the laundry. Or like I had a gentleman say yesterday in the bookstore, "Which one do you want? I have a surplus of money and I want to buy you something. So which expansion you want for your game?" And I was like, "Give me the cash." Like no, like the idea of him buying me the expansion for a game seems great. Like I love that he wanted to do that so we could play the game together. The idea is I'm gonna get the expansion so we can play it together. But I was like, if you owe me money, just give me the money you owe me. It's a different equate of it all. Like
for me, paying attention to how I receive love and how I give love is so important. Understanding that my top love language is quality time.
mhm,
And I think that if you spend 5 minutes with me, that it's quite clear. It is one of the reasons why I think that often I feel more lonely and it's frustrating to my mom and it's frustrating to my friends sometimes, especially when I was living in Jackson because they didn't come see me and I didn't have that interaction with them as much. And for me to get my quality time, I would have to drive the hour to go to them.
mhm.
And, there was frustration of saying, there's all these things and people do all these things. And I'm like, but is it the way that I receive love?
Mm,
And also another thing to note is that, that's where a disconnect happens in friendships. That's where a disconnect happens in relationships. That's where a disconnect happens in family. My mom is really big in gift giving, and gift giving is ranks probably at the lowest for me in love languages. And that's not saying anything against her. I have been learning she bought me since I got out of the grippy sock vacation. She was buying me t-shirts that are like your mental health matters. And that was kind of her way of saying, I love you and I see you. And having to, for me, understand like, okay, this is her way of showing me that she supports me. And it's not necessarily the thing that I would value always, but it is her act of trying, and
yeah.
that's important. But it's also important, again, for, like, your understanding you and your self-love and the way that you also need to show up for yourself.
Plus, understand that you can't love someone in your love language. You have to love them in their love language. And just because your love language is gift giving, if their love language is not gift giving, then you can them a bazillion gifts and they're not gonna appreciate it.
Never gonna feel it. They're never gonna feel
You
it.
know,
And
it's like, oh, another thing to add to the list. Like Christmas is always a hard time for me because one of my love language is gift giving. I spend a lot of time figuring out what the person will like and are they gonna enjoy this gift. And 'cause I don't like just giving cash to people for Christmas because Christmas is like, no, just give, you can always give someone cash. It's really easy. There's no thought to it. But like if you actually sit down and be like, okay, well, what was the person like? What's your favorite color? What book are they reading? What game are they playing? What music are they listening to? Not so much, "Oh, I enjoy this, maybe they'll enjoy it too," but I take a lot of time and effort to really get to know someone and their personality and what they're gonna, like, be into to hope that they enjoy this gift 'cause it's a surprise, you know? And then to be met a lot of times in both sides of the family and even sometimes friend groups is that the gifts that I would get for Christmas aren't things that I would want or use, and so what often would happen would be there, "Well, what'd you get for Christmas?" "Here." And it's a stack of stuff that I got that I haven't used, and sadly, it becomes clutter in the corner of my house. I thank you for the presents, but, like, I'm probably not gonna use I understand myself.
do you think so I felt that way one Christmas with our family. It was when I was younger, and it was when I was turning into, like, a teenager, 12, 13, and I remember that the gifts shifted away from video games and those type of things and went more to perfume and lip gloss, and I was not a perfume and lip gloss kind of girl, and I
Mhm.
had a conversation with my mom, and I told her how frustrated I was, and, she explained to me that that's just what the family thought that a girl my age would want, and it was so frustrating for me because I felt so unseen. But in my older years, I'm more realizing that I do something that I didn't recognize that I was doing, which is I don't show my full self to people. And when I don't show my full self to people, sometimes, or when people are only seeing, for instance, for astrology, you have what is your rising sign, and your rising sign is kind of your hiding sign. It's the first thing that people see, and it's not necessarily who you really are. It's just like a first impression. And sometimes I hide behind my rising sign and I don't allow people to truly see me as I am. And I think that that is part of a trauma response, but I also think that it affects how people gift me things because I'm not allowing my true self to be seen because I'm afraid.
I think it's also you are more comfortable with different people. Like, when I am truly, truly comfortable with someone, I can go to their house and go to sleep. Like, I will fall and take a nap. Like, "Why are you here?" "I'm here to take a nap because I feel safe." Or I'll as someone who is very much in charge of a lot of different things, I know I'm with my people when I can full on have a tantrum like I'm 5 years old. Like, I definitely had a tantrum leaving the boba shop yesterday just pouting, and it's like, my ability to be childlike is a result of me being in a safe space, which doesn't happen that often.
But my question is, do you think that sometimes the lack of authentic gift giving comes from you shielding yourself?
I think that people can't give you good gifts if they don't see you and they don't know you. And sometimes it's they're not looking hard enough because a lack of effort on their part. Like that year, our auntie gave us all tweezers. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? But there's also a level of are we making our personality readily available for people to see? Because being seen can be an incredibly scary thing. And even if you don't see everyone, even if you make the effort to get to know them, to see what their interest is in, actually have at least one conversation, you might be able to learn what someone actually likes. I would buy gifts for the family. Everyone seems to receive them really well, but I don't talk to the family. That's my own intuition of knowing what they would like or what they would need. Whether they actually like them or not, who's to say?
I mean, I think going back to the 5 love languages, it's why it's so important to communicate, and I think that that's why I really love the 5 love languages, is it creates a communication, opportunity for you to sit down with your partner, for you to sit down with your friend and be more vulnerable and be more open and say, "Hey, I know that you value words of affirmation." For example, I know that you value words of affirmation, but words of affirmation for me can sometimes feel very cheesy or very inauthentic and actually and I know that you're not doing it in that way, but that is the way it comes off for me, and for me to be able to receive love, I need something that feels more authentic, and maybe what feels more authentic is acts of service for me. So telling me that you love me is nice, but doing something that shows that you love me, taking care of the laundry or something, that is the way that I am able to receive love more, and having those conversations, I think, is so important in all types of relationships. And again, even with yourself, when you have self care days, when you have self love days, understanding what you require to feel loved, right? So for me, a lot of my self care days and self love days would involve not necessarily me buying something for myself. A lot of them did, but I buy myself things in general, has little to do with it. It's more of the excitement of getting a new identity with clothes than it is about buying something. But a lot of mine would involve me taking myself out on a date, me, going to get sushi, or me spending the day in the house watching movies, or me spending the day in the house reading books. That's quality time with myself. And those are ways that I get to recharge.
It's important to do a check-in with yourself, and I think that's what people miss out on, is that we're constantly told in order to have someone love you, you have to first love yourself, and we spend so much time chasing the aspect of validation from a perspective of someone else that we forget the first person we're supposed to love is us. And unless we know how we appreciate love and receive love and want to be loved, we can't expect someone to do it for us. And if we don't have that information, can't share it with someone else. So everything will feel inauthentic and not enough until we know that's what we're missing. You continuously starve when you're not being fed properly.
Right. So my question to you is, do you know where your love languages rank if you're comfortable sharing those?
I am a person who appreciates acts of service. I don't think that one love language is enough because everyone you need all five in different aspects and ratios. But definitely acts of service is a big thing for me. And it's not so much, I think what's really upsetting, a lot of people say physical touch, especially on dating apps like Hinge. Quality time is actually listed as the number one love language on Hinge across the board, and then for men, it was, physical touch, and for women, it was words of affirmation underneath that. It's in the poll that they did, and I said that for people in large cities like New York, San Francisco, they appreciate quality time because of how busy they are. They know the importance of actually being there. For me, it's acts of service. I don't particularly care for physical touch. A lot of guys would say physical touch is because they want to have sex, and if you just wanna have sex.
That's
But
not
physical
physical.
touch isn't just about being intimate with someone. I think a lot of the time that gets disconnected when talking about your love language. This physical touch could simply be, "Let me hold your hand. Let me cuddle you for a second. Let me scratch your head, let me pat you on the back. Let me give you a hug. Let me show you some physical support."
But yeah, I think that having the conversation is so important, understanding what yours. I know that, and to piggyback on what you said about that it's not just one. I agree. And I think that when sometimes you're missing one, you can look into the others. For instance, if you're in a long distance relationship and you quality time is your love language, you can use some of the ones that rank a little bit lower because they give you a percentage, right? And for me, acts of service and words of affirmation would be the next tiers. And you can find a way where communication, right, is a different way of giving me quality time when I don't have it with you, but understanding that it isn't just one. One isn't going to be the only way that you feel it. It's meant to be a ranking system for you to understand how you feel it the most, what's coming in second for you, and what you value the least. That doesn't mean that you don't still need it. It's just on the hierarchy of your needs. This one is lower than the rest of them. Again, you still need all of them, but what way do you need people to show up for you the
Also,
most?
like people who say they want gift giving. Like if you spend a whole bunch of money to buy an expensive dress for someone, that's really cool, and if they love it, they'll appreciate it. I use that as an example. The author I was doing some research on, she said, she went shopping and her then partner bought her this really expensive dress, and when she asked them how they could afford it, it was because they had spent a bunch of doing other side gigs. So she appreciated the dress more because they worked hard to earn the money to buy it for her.
Mhm.
But then when it came to the situation of, okay, well, what do I get her partner that's into boxing? And they're saying the ex now said, okay, well, why don't you get them decorative gloves? Like that's not something that they're really into. So gift giving is a different aspect of, is it something they're actually going to use? Is it something that they're going to actually want? And where's the value money in the present that's coming in?
Yeah. All right. I think we are going to finish there. We are not going to have an Am I the Asshole today. We will have one next week. But any closing remarks, any things that we want the listeners to remember? What did we learn today?
Bread makes you fat.
What?
Like what? Yeah, bread makes you fat.
I got nothing. Okay, guys, don't forget to follow us on all of the social medias. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, we are now on Spotify, and where we've been on Spotify, but now you get to see clips of us on Spotify, and we are on YouTube, and we are on Substack. We both just got a new follower.
Woo!
So exciting. So, follow us so that we can have more excited follower dances. Other than that, thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time. Pure Tiva Podcast.